Welcome back to Ancient Edge. What if civilizations thousands of years ago engineered water purification systems that rival modern technology, without chemicals, without million-dollar infrastructure, without the toxins filling our contemporary reservoirs? We're diving into one of history's most ingenious and forgotten technologies, the natural filtration systems of pre-Columbian societies. From the Maya to the Inca, these civilizations didn't stumble upon clean water. They mastered it. And the shocking truth, we've abandoned their methods. Let's uncover why. Modern tap water contains pharmaceuticals, microplastics, and industrial chemicals our treatment plants weren't designed to filter. We add chlorine to kill pathogens, creating suspected carcinogens as byproducts. We pour billions into infrastructure dependent on constant energy and specialized expertise. Yet the Maya sustained a city of 60,000 to 90,000 people without a river or permanent lake for over 1,000 years. Tikal, in the heart of the Yucatan Peninsula, had no nearby water sources during long dry seasons. Yet archaeological analysis of the Corriental Reservoir reveals water quality dramatically superior to surrounding reservoirs. Mercury contamination was virtually absent. The water wasn't just drinkable, it was pure. Powered by nothing but gravity and the precise application of natural materials, the Maya clearly understood at a molecular level. This is where the narrative about primitive ancient technology collapses. The Maya engineered water purification as sophisticated science, not desperate necessity. Water cascading from limestone bedrock didn't flow directly into reservoirs. The Maya, in their impressive ingenuity, created controlled intake points and settling chambers. These were designed to slow water movement, allowing gravity to perform the first critical work, sedimentation. Heavier particles settled naturally, eliminating visible contaminants without any intervention. But, the real innovation lay deeper. Below the intake points, the Maya positioned two carefully selected natural materials. First came crystalline quartz sand, sourced from volcanic deposits, chosen specifically for purity and particle size. This mechanical filter trapped suspended particles and organic debris too small to settle naturally. Millions of sand grains acted as checkpoints, preventing algae spores and debris from passing through. Beneath the quartz sand lay zeolite, a naturally occurring volcanic mineral with an extraordinary molecular architecture. Zeolite is riddled with tiny chambers, creating an enormous internal surface area. When water passes through, its crystalline structure acts as a molecular sieve, absorbing ions, charged particles, and contaminants that pass right through conventional sand. Heavy metals like mercury bind to the zeolite structure. Nitrogen compounds feeding algae growth are trapped. Pathogens and their byproducts are removed through physical and chemical processes. This wasn't convenient local material. The Maya sourced zeolite from volcanic rock outcrops 18 miles northeast of Tikal, a deliberate choice demonstrating knowledge that the effort to transport it was worth the purification benefit. They understood, through centuries of empirical knowledge, that this specific material possessed properties superior to local limestone and clay. Above the zeolite, the Maya positioned perishable woven mats and limestone boulders controlling water flow and preventing disturbance to layers beneath. Water moved through this entire assembly at millimeters per day. This wasn't fast filtration. It was slow, methodical purification that made it extraordinarily effective. The Maya achieved water purity without introducing a single chemical. Modern plants depend on chlorine, aluminum sulfate, fluoride, and pH adjustment chemicals. Each solved real problems while creating new ones. Chlorine kills bacteria but produces trihalomethanes, compounds linked to increased cancer risk with long-term exposure. Modern plants minimize these byproducts but cannot eliminate them. The Maya system was, well, preventative. By removing contaminants before they entered the supply through sedimentation, mechanical filtration, and molecular adsorption, problems just never arose. There was no need to kill pathogens with chemicals because, honestly, many never reached the water. No need for coagulants either, since the system naturally separated solids. Water emerging from the reservoir required no neutralization. It was simply pure. This reveals, a pretty profound environmental difference. Modern treatment generates tremendous sludge containing concentrated contaminants, chemicals, and heavy metals that require disposal or incineration. The Maya system, on the other hand, generated virtually no waste. Settling chambers accumulated harmless sediment, which was just periodically removed and allowed to dry. Zeolite and quartz sand continued functioning for centuries without replacement. The system wasn't just sustainable, it was circular, working with natural processes rather than against them. Modern infrastructure is, honestly, vulnerable to catastrophic failure. Power outages disrupt chemical dosing, broken supply lines, halt treatment, and ruptured pipes introduce contamination. The Maya system required no electricity, no supply chains, and no specialized expertise. If one section became compromised, water could be drawn elsewhere. Built to last, it did for over a millennium. Pre-Columbian water purification extended far beyond Tikal. Each civilization developed solutions adapted to their specific geography, yet, each demonstrated a fundamental grasp of purification principles. The Maya integrated natural filtration into cenotes. These are sinkholes formed by collapsed limestone bedrock. Water percolating through limestone naturally filters, while alkaline limestone neutralizes acidic compounds. Rather than fighting geology, the Maya cooperated with it, creating underground filtration powered entirely by gravity and the natural chemistry of limestone. The Inca, occupying mountainous South America, faced, quite different challenges. Glacial melt carried significant sediment. They engineered aqueducts spanning hundreds of miles, with multiple settling basins and sediment traps. These weren't just simple channels. They were precisely engineered structures with specific gradients forcing water to slow and particles to settle. The slope wasn't arbitrary. It was calculated to move water fast enough to prevent stagnation, yet slow enough in specific sections for sedimentation. This required mathematical sophistication and empirical testing accumulated over centuries. The Aztec city of Tenochtitlan, built on an island in contaminated Lake Texcoco, constructed separate freshwater aqueducts from distant springs and elaborate canal systems, preventing mixing with contaminated water. More ingeniously, they integrated planted root systems into filtration infrastructure, constructed wetlands enhancing purification through biological activity while providing food and medicinal plants. These weren't accidental features, they were deliberate design elements. These civilizations saw water not as a resource to conquer and chemically transform, but as something to understand and cooperate with. Their engineering extended natural processes rather than replacing them. As global water crises intensify in 2026, with contamination, scarcity, and infrastructure failures becoming common, ancient wisdom grows increasingly relevant. Modern researchers are rediscovering what the Maya knew: slow, passive filtration through natural materials rivals chemical treatment in many applications. Zeolite filtration, which was once abandoned with the rise of chemical treatment, is now, experiencing a real renaissance in both industrial and household applications. Slow sand filters, they still remain fundamental to most treatment plants. These approaches are gaining traction, especially in developing nations and emergency scenarios, mainly because they're simple, effective, and, require minimal maintenance. The principles here offer, honestly, some solid solutions for off-grid living, disaster preparedness, and of course communities that lack modern utilities. A person or even a small community can actually construct multi-stage filtration using locally sourced materials, sand, gravel, charcoal, and activated carbon. When contaminated water is poured through such systems, it emerges dramatically cleaner, and often, after boiling, it's safe enough for consumption. The deeper lesson here, it really transcends just practical application. Ancient engineers used to ask, how can we cooperate with natural processes? Meanwhile, modern engineers tend to ask, what technology overcomes natural constraints? The first approach produces sustainable, resilient, and honestly elegant systems. The second, well, it produces systems that require constant intervention, generate waste, and eventually fail unexpectedly. Now, this doesn't mean abandoning modern technology, not at all. Modern treatment, after all, addresses industrial chemicals and pharmaceuticals the ancient world, frankly, never encountered. But it does mean, approaching our water future with a sense of humility, recognizing that sometimes the most effective solutions aren't actually the newest ones. The story of pre-Columbian water purification is ultimately about human ingenuity responding to real constraints with, well, elegant solutions. It's about understanding your environment so deeply that you cooperate with it. And it's about building systems that last for centuries because they align with natural processes. As we grapple with aging infrastructure, contamination crises, and, let's be honest, pressing sustainability needs, remember the Maya and Inca. Their forgotten filters teach us that advanced technology sometimes requires the least intervention, the one that allows nature to do what it does best. Subscribe to Ancient Edge to explore hidden knowledge that shaped our world and honestly can guide our future. Share this video with anyone who believes progress always moves forward. The water of the past is calling. Will you answer?